You know that feeling? It's like 2 a.m., you're scrolling through your phone, and suddenly you realize you've lost 4 hours, not to rest, not to anything meaningful, just gone. And somewhere deep down, you feel that pull, that voice saying, "This isn't it. This isn't who I'm supposed to be right now." That voice is locking in, trying to wake you up. But here's what most people don't understand about locking in. It's not actually about grinding harder. It's about something way more subtle and way more powerful. It's about understanding what to protect. Let me tell you a story. There's a goldsmith in a crowded marketplace. Every single day, people approach him with opportunities. Hey, make cheaper jewelry for mass production. You'll get rich quick. Another person, why don't you make necklaces instead of rings? The market's bigger. Someone else, you're wasting your talent. Come work for my company full time. And all these opportunities, they sound good. They sound like progress. But this goldsmith, he understood something. He understood that to create masterpiece jewelry, the kind people admire for generations, he couldn't chase every opportunity. So he said no to almost everything. He had 3 rules. First, he would only work with gold of the highest purity. Second, he would spend months on every single piece. Third, he would not sell to volume. He would sell to people who understood the value. Everyone thought he was crazy. His competitors were making 10 times more money. But fast forward 20 years, his pieces become legendary. His work becomes the standard. His competitors, forgotten. Now, here's the neuroscience nobody tells you. When you're trying to lock in, when you're trying to actually build something, your brain has a limited resource called attention, not time, attention. You can have 24 hours, but if your attention is scattered across 100 different things, you're working with maybe 2 hours of actual focused attention. It's called attention residue. Every time you switch contexts, every time you say yes to something that's not your core priority, your brain leaves part of itself behind on that previous task. You're not fully present anywhere. So locking in isn't about doing more, it's about doing fewer things with more consciousness. But here's where most people fail. They understand priorities, they make a list, they know what matters, but they don't know how to defend it. That's where boundaries come in. And boundaries are not what people think they are. Boundaries aren't walls. They're not you being rude or cold or selfish. Boundaries are you being honest. Boundaries are you saying, I care about my goals more than I care about being temporarily liked for saying yes to everything. Think about a river for a moment. A river has banks, right? Those banks, they look limiting. They confine the water, but those banks are what give the river its power. Without those banks, you don't have a river. You have a swamp, shallow, stagnant, going nowhere. The moment you define what you're not willing to compromise on, that's when you become powerful. Let me be more specific. There are 3 types of boundaries you need to set when you're locking in. First, boundaries with your time. This is non-negotiable. When you're in your focus hours, you're not available, full stop. Not for messages, not for calls, not for quick favors. Your brain is doing deep work, and the moment you interrupt it, you break the spell. It takes 15 minutes to get back to that state. 15 minutes. So if someone interrupts you, they just stole 15 minutes, maybe 30. Second, boundaries with your energy, and this is the subtle one, because you can physically be present and mentally checked out. You know people like this, right? They're in the room, but they're not really there. The reason is because they've scattered their energy across too many commitments. You need to be selective about what emotional labor you're willing to invest in, not because you're selfish, but because your energy is finite. And real growth, real excellence, requires mental and emotional presence. You can't be fully present for your actual goals if you're drained from being half present for 10 other people's expectations. Third, boundaries with your standards. This one matters for ambitious people especially. When you're locking in, you're saying no to mediocrity. You're saying no to shortcuts that feel good now but hurt you later. You're saying no to temporary validation, and that means you're saying no to a lot of people's opinions about how you should be doing things. Now, practically speaking, here's what this looks like. On Monday, you list your actual priorities, not the 20 things you want to do, the 3 to 5 things that would change your life if you mastered them. Then, every single request that comes to you, you run it through a filter. Does this move me closer to my priorities, yes or no? If it's no, the answer is also no. Not maybe, not let me think about it. No. Because maybe feels good in the moment, but it keeps you scattered. Second, you schedule your focus time like it's a meeting with the most important person in your life, because it's you. And that time is sacred. When someone asks for your attention during that time, you're not being rude by saying no, you're being honest. Third, you surround yourself with people who respect your boundaries. This is crucial because some people will take it personally. They'll say you're selfish, you've changed, you're not a team player. What they mean is you're no longer available for their agenda to be more important than yours, and that's not a loss, that's a filter. The deeper truth here, the thing that separates the people who actually lock in from the people who just talk about it, is this. You are not as important as your goals. Your comfort is not as important as your goals. Your popularity is not as important as your goals. But also, and this is the flip side, your goals are not as important as your integrity. So when you're setting boundaries, when you're prioritizing, you're not doing it to win or to crush other people or to prove something. You're doing it because you've decided your work matters more than your comfort. And when you make that shift, when you actually mean it, boundaries become easy, because you're not choosing boundaries over connection, you're choosing your work over your chaos. Here's the moral, and this is the part that actually sticks with you. The people who seem like they're locked in, who seem like they have superpowers, they're not. They're just ruthless about what they say no to. They've traded 1,000 small yeses for a few big ones. They've traded being liked for being respected. They've traded comfort for progress. And once you understand that trade, once you actually make it, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to being available for everything. So, right now, if you're watching this, ask yourself, what am I saying yes to that I should be saying no to? What commitments are draining me that I'm keeping only because I feel like I should? What would change if you just protected your time, your energy, your standards like they actually matter? That's locking in. Not the hard work, not the late nights. Those are just consequences. Locking in is deciding that your goals matter more than being available for every distraction. It's deciding that focus is more valuable than options. And once you decide that, everything changes. If you got value from this, if this shifted how you think about priorities and boundaries, hit that subscribe button, because we're going deeper into the psychology of discipline, the art of saying no, and how to build the mindset that actually separates the people who accomplish things from the people who just talk about it. Subscribe and let's lock in together.